Councilman Young.
I just want to take a minute. I think everybody up here in their heart wants to look out for the interest of Vero Beach. And one of the primary concerns that I have and that has not been met as we proceed forward, and hopefully will be met as we proceed forward, is transparency. And now is the time to delineate the details. Okay? You can say you want an electric sale, you can say you want a partial sale, but none of that amounts to a hill of beans until you see the specifics. And the development to date of the LOI has been done without public scrutiny, without the assurance that the definitive agreements will be established in a defined and transparent process. Then the public cannot have confidence that due diligence will be completed, period. That assurance should come in the stated affirmation that all staff and committee boards will examine and provide review of the council in a manner that will afford scrutiny of all aspects of the potential full sale and partial sale. That has not happened, and I expect it to happen if we are going to proceed with an LOI. Specific concerns that I have, and this is just a layman's review over 5 days since I've had this LOI. And I will assure you, I'm a simple soldier, and there are great minds out there that know the right answers or the right questions to ask. And in fact, moving forward, specific concerns. Defining the impact of the 99-year lease on Vero Beach power facility substation property that was raised earlier. That has consequences. The impact of the cost of relocation of distribution facilities to the substation. As it turns out, there's an RFP that will be looked at later this evening for $2.16 million for that to happen. The impact of the payment of the pension liability. I want to hear from the staff, and we have a very accomplished staff, that that's on target or, to our best interest. The impact of the reduced revenue stream post-contract closure. How does this agreement impact the disposition of the Vero Beach power plant? We are having a vision meeting tomorrow, and that would be a question that we'd want to understand before we proceed forward. And this is a question that came to my mind, and I think it's very pertinent, and we have the experts here, and I'm sure it can be addressed. Is the negotiation period adequate? If you look at the negotiation period, it's roughly 90 days. Will we be in a place in 90 days from now to come to a definitive agreement that we can proceed forward with? Is the value of the system actually realized? I want to have a financial review that says, yes, sir, City Council, Mayor, $108 million, the $38 million is a good deal. Right now, we've not had the opportunity for that to happen. And what does it mean that qualified, I say again, qualified city electric employees will be hired? I'm not sure what that means. And I want to be darn sure, or as Mayor Howell said, damn sure, that we protect our employees as they transition to FP&L. And then on both the partial sale and the full sale, the liabilities, the assumed liabilities, which we were told did not exist, but in fact exist if you look at the letter of intention, is to be specified. Again, this is a letter of intent, I understand that, but I'm just bringing this to the attention of the public and to the public here, that list is a deal breaker, as are many other aspects. Moving on. The partial sale. Temporary use of Vero Beach transmission and distribution center at no cost for the time TBD. Again, the devil's in the details. I mentioned assumed liabilities. Also, the financial analysis of the partial sale integration with the budget. We're going to proceed with budget as we do every year. And a part of the staff analysis and a part of the research that has to go in here, in a logical, deliberate manner, how do we as a city envision the integration of the proposed sales within our budget cycle, because it has direct and immediate effect. Also, I'm a medical planner. I'm an operational. That's my background. I've seen that over 30 years. What is the operational implications of a joint use transmission and distribution assets? The manner, the cost, timeline, response to power outages, etc. These are huge questions, and none of them are addressed at this point in the detail necessary. So, as a prerequisite for my support of the letter of intent, I expect that there will be total and public scrutiny of the process as we go forward. The last council meeting, I asked one question that was never addressed properly. How will this be done, and in what time frame will this be done by the experts that can give the city council, the five of us, the answers that we need to have to make a decision that is in the interest of all of our residents? Thanks.
Thank you, Councilman Young. If I understand your comments, I think probably there will be several parties that should respond to them. I think perhaps FPL might want to respond to some of the comments. Our special counsel, Mr. Dollinger, can respond to some of them. And actually, with regard to financial analysis, I think our city manager, Mr. O'Connor, and I see our financial director, Ms. Lawson, are in the audience. Who would like to go first?
What I would like to have first is none of which the experts here can provide. And what I would like to have first is from the council the assurance that adequate scrutiny by all agents be permitted for this letter of intent as it goes forward. My statement is that the letter of intent be combined, a vote for the letter of intent be combined with an assurance to the public that that review will take place.
I spent the weekend going over every single document that has been released in the public record. And all I can tell you is at this point, and I don't think it's fair to ask the staff to get up, I can find no evidence of any negotiation. In other words, what's happened is I think Mr. Dollinger and others have done a good job of providing information so there can be a letter of intent. But there is, in no sense has this been vetted. So that's my only comment. If it has, I cannot find it.
Okay,
over 1,000 pages.
Thank you. We appreciate all of your comments, but I'd like to return to Councilman Young's concerns. May I ask FPL to address some of Colonel Young's?
Yes, that is our commitment to you, that it will be fully transparent and negotiated.
How do you envision this proceeding forward? Will we have an opportunity, milestone events, so that we can sequence them with the city council meetings so that we're informed of where we are in the process? Because we're talking 90 days, so you've got 3 months. So can I expect that we will have, an FPL addendum to each one of our monthly meetings as we go forward, so we understand and have an idea of how far along we are?
Well, as was with the previous deal, as with any deal, it's not productive for any parties to sit in public and negotiate a deal. The final product will be brought to you, but if the mayor directs and the council directs us to come to meetings to let you know that how the progress is moving, we can certainly do that. But 90 days is not a lot of time when you looked at all that has to be done.
Oh, sure. What I think the public is looking for is a transparent process whereas when we move forward over the next 90 days, we're not going to be surprised at the end of the term where you walk in and say, oops, here's the deal for...
And your attorney certainly is also going to be involved in the process every step of the way, and he's looking out for the city's best interests as well. So.
He's looking at the legal aspects of it. I concur with that.
Yeah. Your staff,
very
city manager.
important. But
Did you have any other questions for FPL? Councilman Young? Would you like them to appear at
without a doubt?
At
I think that's important.
Okay.
Monthly.
Mayor,
Yes.
just as a
Vice
point,
Mayor.
I think we're going to be kept pretty abreast of the situation by our current council, and that having somebody here who may or may not be able to make it for a specified meeting is only going to delay.
Well, it doesn't have to be a prescribed individual, and I think FP&L is a large enough firm that you could have representation, even if it's not yourself.
Yeah, I think that is that a problem? I don't think it is.
We'll make that work.
Yeah,
we want you to know we're in with you on this.
Yeah, good deal.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, and you're.
I mean, that's exactly what I'm hoping to have.
That meets your request.
Without a doubt, yeah.
Okay, great. Very good. All right, I think then I'd ask the city manager and our finance director to address some of the financial concerns raised. Financial analysis, I think, was the term.
Let's put it in perspective from my standpoint. Number one, on a 2011 appraisal of the property of the utility, it was $182.7 million. So that was sort of a target. This number exceeds that. Another issue that we had was contribution to the pension plan after employees transfer. And we went to the actuary. We did not do an analysis. We do not have spreadsheets and all that other stuff. We went to our actuary and said, here are the list of jobs and the names of people and their time and grade with us that would be transferring under this concept. What is the exposure of the pension plan? They gave us that 6.604 number, which FP&L met because we transferred that information onto them. So we started going down, and if you look at the issues, the debt service, the reason we came up with the 20.4, because if we close in October of 2018, that will be what the debt is owed. So we put that number in there. If we close sooner than that, the debt will be a little higher. If we close after that, the debt becomes lower. Similar to what FMPA said pertaining to their cost of the 108, the longer you wait, that number continues to go down because you're making payments. The 99-year lease, that seems to be another little hang-up. I personally have no problem with the 99-year lease. Number one, if somebody came in and offered us $10 million for that piece of ground, we'd probably be inclined to at least look at that offer. So this is a lease that is on there. We also built in, as you see in the letter of intent, that if the city 5 years, 10 years down the road says we want that substation moved, as if it's under our ownership, would have to pay to have that substation moved. And we built that in, and again, that's going to be one of the details in the leases that will come out with the final sales contract that will take place in the transaction. But the $10 million, in my opinion, was a fair number to go for the lease of that property. FP&L has told us all along, even from the initial, back when we first started this exercise 3 contracts ago, that they prefer ownership, and short-term leases does not satisfy, especially for critical infrastructure such as that substation. So we have that issue. The other thing that came up, and I heard the comment, I forget who said it, but the $2.1 million today to move the switchgear out of the power plant. I would recommend to the City Council we continue with that project, move it out into the substation, because we want to take down the Big Blue, which we can do only if we move that switchgear out of there. If we don't, then the building stays for a while as we debate that issue. But that's an expense that is going to be incurred by us because that's retaining an operation. It's a going concern. We will continue to operate the electric utility as a going concern. So the numbers that we have here, and at the end of the day, financially, is better than what we've had in the past. And if we're going to sell the electric utility system, I'm not sure you're going to exceed what the offer is here in the fact that it meets our appraisal value, it puts money into our pension plan, and it does give career opportunities to our employees going forward.
primary concern that I have is that as we move forward with the letter of intent, that all opportunity is there for the committees and for the staff to scrutinize it, and that the council be provided a deliberate update of the process as we move forward, because there will be things that I don't see that needs to be addressed and questions that need to be clarified before we reach our target. And we could continue all day to look at the specifics, but that's not the intent for the meeting here.
Thank you, Jim. May I say one thing? Just so there is no concern in the future. I believe everything should be discussed, and we will be. And I'm glad that FPL will be attending the meetings. But it's so important when you're dealing with these sensitive, high-level negotiations. It's so important to have it presented properly, so that there are not misunderstandings and nothing is jeopardized in the process. Transparency is a dual-edged sword. We're a bit hamstrung here in terms of sunshine and other things. In terms of negotiation, not that.
Yeah, it certainly makes things challenging, and it's a real balance, Colonel Young. On the one hand, you want to be transparent, and of course we have to comply with the Sunshine Law. We have to comply with the Public Records Law, but it's very difficult to negotiate an agreement. I've negotiated agreements before in a public library where there's a gallery of people around, and I think you can appreciate it's like a TV show with an audience of 300 people. It doesn't work very well. But I understand your concerns, and they're apt concerns about transparency, and it is striking that reasonable balance while complying fully with the legal requirements. You are very correct in what you said about our conversation. I don't want to belabor it, but I think it's important for everyone to understand. We are lawyers. Our firm, we're privileged to represent the city of Vero Beach, but we provide legal advice, and it's important for people to understand, that we're not financial advisors, we're not investment bankers, we're not accountants, so we stick to our knitting, and we do what we think we know how to do, which is do the lawyering. So I just wanted to make that clear.
Thank you very much.
And so we left some flexibility in that so that there could be negotiation between the city of Vero Beach and Florida Power and Light.
Each one of the bodies have their issues that they know need to be resolved as we progress forward. Okay, and FP&L does, FMPA, and our attorney. That laundry list should be specified, so as we move forward, you can, and the body here can say, check, we've proceeded over that hurdle, and we know if in 30 days from now there's a stumbling block that needs to be resolved between our parties, or if we're on course for meeting the target date that we expect. Okay. Because what will happen is, my concern is FMPA may encounter a situation with the bond folks that will cause a delay. And so unless that's communicated, post haste, then we're caught holding an expectation that's unrealistic.
Yeah, events over a timeline.
We'll put together a complete list here in the next few days, and we'll be more than happy to share that with you, and we'll continue to refine that. We'll work with FMPA. We'll work with your legal counsel as well from Carlin Fields.
Thanks.
And other parties to make sure we have a complete list.
Okay.
So that's absolutely a thing that we have to do.
Just
educate me. I'm sorry. As those meetings move forward, how will the city council be appraised of what transpires?
Well, I think we can have a report at every meeting, basically, right?
Colonel, one of the problems is I'm not real big on taking in-depth notes, but I have no problem reporting on who we've met with, dealing with this transaction in the subsequent 2 weeks. I have no problem with that.
Okay, I guess as we move forward, how will the council be updated so we know that we're making progress to meet closure?
I think with Florida Power and Light being at the meeting, I'll be here, hopefully, at the meeting as well, and so we'll be able
I'll be here, and I go to FMPA, so I'll report on FMPA.
Okay.
I'm the FMPA
So you'll have all the
representative.
parties.
So those are all the parties, unless FMPA would like to come to our monthly meetings. But I'm not going to put that burden on you because it's member cities. We have to remember there's a distinction between FMPA.
But all the
FPL
parties will be here,
structure.
Tony, and be very happy to give you an update.
And that's what I think. Again, as the three agents provide their issues that they have, you meet on a biweekly basis or whatever the deliberative manner is that you have. If I have the opportunity, and I'm sure the council members in their own capacity will want that, is to look at that and then say, hey, Jim, hey, Madam Mayor, where are we in regards to some aspect?
And that'd be great. Any questions you have or any comments, please forward it to me, and we'll get it to the appropriate authority, the bodies, to respond to those.
Thank you very much, Kim.
Good morning. I believe it's still morning. My name is Carter Taylor. I'm the President Executive Committee of the Indian River Neighborhood Association. And I first want to thank the City Council, FPL, FMPA, and particularly Mayor Moss for the perseverance and all the hard work that has resulted in this deal coming to the table. It's been a rather remarkable adventure over a number of years, but I do have some concerns that I'd like to express. First of all, even though we are only at a letter of intent, which is stated as non-binding, the letter of intent does establish the structure of a deal, and it begins to cement in place what the final contract will look like. Although the numbers will change, the structure will probably remain the same. So the decision that you are making today is material and does bear on the final outcome. I think that there's been a balancing act between transparency and the sensitive nature of the negotiations. I hope that phase is over, because we in the public, we've only had a sum total of 3 business days in which to evaluate this. The council has asked for public comment, and it's frankly very difficult to make meaningful public comment having had only 3 business days to evaluate the proposition. It's really not enough time for the public to digest it and make an informed comment. Our main concern is that when FMPA cleared a path for the full sale, the City Council wisely decided to prioritize the full sale. The full sale is a relatively clean deal. And we already really know what a full sale looks like because we've been around that track a couple times now. And this is, I think, the 3rd time around that track. The partial sale, we haven't done and completed due diligence on. And it's been likened to separating Siamese twins. We haven't heard any comment from T&D. We haven't heard any comment about what type of facilities are going to be required, what they're going to cost. And to City Manager O'Connor's point, the partial sale doesn't pass the KISS standard. It's got a lot of moving parts to it. And our concern is this, that we're all for a full sale here. I don't think we've heard anything to the contrary. Mayor Barefoot is for the full sale. The county commission passed a resolution. We didn't read it, but it specifically says full sale. If they don't want a partial sale, they want the full sale. And the full sale is frankly the thing that is the cleanest to do and to get done. If you, in the MOU, in the letter of intent, if you link the full sale and the partial sale, you run the risk of unnecessarily complicating the process of the full sale and slowing down the whole timeline. And I urge you to consider that before linking the two. I think that we somehow, in the process between February of this year and today, we've somehow unlearned that linking the partial and the full sale unnecessarily complicates things when we have a clear path. The final thing I would like to consider in the interest of transparency and involving the public is that the day that this deal closes, we're all going to say mission accomplished. But then the day after that, we've still got to run the city. And as has been alluded to by several other speakers, we haven't seen any forecasts, any analysis of how that restructuring might look, because it will involve a substantial restructuring of staff, Obviously, a large reduction. We're running that city now on maybe 80 cents out of $1. Some reduction in staff, some reduction of expenses, some combination of things. But the point is we don't have any information with which to evaluate and comment what that might look like. I know that we're focused on the sale, but I urge you to think about the longer term, because once that mission is accomplished, the public needs to have that information in order to give you their informed opinion. And I thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your comment.
Jay Kramer, 5035 Tradewinds. Make it very sweet, simple. FP&L is number 11 as far as being the cheapest in the state. 10 FMPA members beat them. When we had a referendum, FP&L was the lowest in the state. They are not the lowest in the state. The value relationship that the public had when we were going to do the full sale was that they were going to get the lowest rates in the state. They will not be getting that. In fact, I'm going to run over some numbers, and these are actually coming from actual bills from FP&L. Last 4 months, they went up 13.25%, $10.63. Nobody knew that. It wasn't reported in the newspaper. At the end of the year, they get to go up about another $4. PSC has already given that to them. And at the end of next year, they get to go up another $4. PSC has already given that to them. With the franchise fee, 102 plus 6 is 108, plus 4, 112 plus 4 is 116. You're at the same. You have the ability to drop your rates by about $2. You can do that right now, and you can get away with it. The fact is, what's going to happen is you guys are going to end up giving us the same rates, and you're going to have to increase the taxes about 60-70% at least. So have at it. 2 years will tell, and we'll tag your names to it. Have a good day.
Thank you. And now I move that the City of Vero Beach agrees to the terms of the non-binding letter of intent of today, May 16th, 2017, regarding the purchase by FPL of Vero Electric. May I have a second for that motion?
May we have discussion of that, or is the discussion closed?
Yes, whatever comments you haven't already made.
Okay, if you would modify your proposal that we move ahead with the full sale, you will have my yes vote.
This is for the full sale. It says regarding the purchase by FPL of Vero Electric. Vero Electric is Vero Electric.
Okay.
Vero Electric is the
if
full
that's
system.
what it is, but does that imply it's a partial sale?
No. Vero Electric. I'll read it again. The City of Vero Beach agrees to the terms of the non-binding letter of intent of May 16th, 2017, regarding the purchase of by FPL of Vero Electric. That's what this letter of intent is for.
Okay, and what happens to the partial sale? That does not cover it.
That's what this letter of intent is to purchase Vero Electric. The letter of intent is for the full sale.
What happens to the partial sale?
The letter of intent is for the full sale, sir.
The letter of intent includes a fallback on the partial sale.
Fallback. What you read.
You have a question of the attorney, but
I'll ask the question of the attorney then. What are we voting on, Mr. Attorney?
I know. I think
I heard the letter of intent, which is what it is.
The letter of intent is with regard to Vero Electric.
It is indeed, Mayor. There are provisions in there that if the full sale did not occur, then you would go to the partial sale. But that agreement would be negotiated at the same time. But the emphasis is on the full sale. That's what we're trying to accomplish.
Okay. So I'm not I'm not amending this motion. So I'm just. I'm going to repeat the motion.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Mayor,
You had your answer from a lawyer.
approved.
I'm not going to. The lawyer answered. I'm going to repeat the motion. The City of Vero Beach agrees to the terms of the non-binding letter of intent of today, 5/16/2017, regarding the purchase by FPL of Vero Electric. And I have a second.
Second.
And
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm sorry if that disturbs you. Will this be open for full review by all committees as we proceed forward?
I think we discussed that about half an hour ago.
Yes. And the answer is?
The answer was yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's simple answer.
Yes, it was.
May I ask you another question? Will you put the word full sale in there? In other words, if we're going to revert back to a partial sale, and we're going to spend a lot of time on it, and we're going to raise everyone's power rates 5% if that should happen or more, I can't vote for your motion. If you put one word in it, I can.
I think Councilman Winger's losing sight that we've already approved the partial sale and that the letter of intent needs to be improved as it is stated today. We're not here to change the letter of intent. We're here to vote on it, yes or no.
Yes.
Thank you for your answer.
Okay, all right. Would this clerk call the roll, please?
Colonel Young?
Yes.
Mr. Sykes?
Yes.
Mr. Winger?
Regretfully, no, because I cannot agree to the linking.
Mr. Howell?
Yes.
Mayor Moss?
Yes.
The motion passes 4-1.
Okay.